And this time, the threat seems to be coming from the inside. Some prominent leaders and ex-Niger Delta agitators are at war over the issue relating to the pipeline surveillance contract given to Tom Polo. Recently, Asari Dokubo made a comment that Tom Polo must not step on his territory over the pipeline surveillance contract, and a prominent Ishekiri leader, Lori Rita Ogbebo, has also spoken against that particular pipeline contract. In the midst of all of this, the Apex Ijaw Social Cultural Organization, INC, seems to be quiet. What is the way forward on this? And this morning, we shall be speaking to the president of the Ijaw National Congress, INC, Professor Benjamin Okuba. Professor Benjamin Okaba will be speaking to us on the social media. He will be joining us live and we'll be talking to us on all of these issues. And once again, thank you so much for being part of Point Blank this Saturday. Let me quickly welcome Professor Benjamin Okaba. Professor Okaba, thank you so much for joining us. And this is Point Blank.
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much.
Now, quickly, Professor Okaba is an educationist, a prolific writer. He is a professor with specialization in environmental sociology, development, administration, and the Niger Delta question. And once again, we're so glad to have you join us. And of course, you can watch everything that is going on live. We're live on Facebook, Super FM 93.3. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, Professor Benjamin Okaba. But let us begin this issue with some of the latest situation that is happening in the Niger Delta region. First, I'm going to start with the issue of the marginal oil field licensing. In July, you issued a statement accusing federal government of defying contract or a court order which restrained governments from issuing licenses. But again, despite that, and despite the pending issue in court, 161 licenses have been issued. And again, federal government is quiet over all of your disagreements on the processes of federal government. So again, what do you plan to do? What is the next? You had warned that what federal government is doing is illegal.
Good morning, my brother. That's a very important question, and the straight answer is that we are still in court, and we'll push through. To be very frank, we are considering going beyond the shores of this country to file a suit. First at the ECOWAS court and beyond. So we are not relent. It's a case of illegality, and if a government that claims to be democratic would not obey the rule of law, then it's very unfortunate. But as Niger Deltans, as Ijaw people, will continue to apply very civic processes to ensure that no matter the number of days it takes, justice is delivered. That is our objective. We are gathering more facts, we are gathering more momentum, and we press on the quest that the marginal oil fees should, as a matter of priority, be the property of our people. It is in continuation of our drive for resource control. Like I said earlier, we are not relenting on it at all.
But again, the action of the federal government, knowing fully well that issues relating to this marginal oil field is in court, and yet giving out this contract, do you consider this as an affront to Ijaw? Because you have talked about it, that this is something that belongs to your people, Ijaws, and federal government, well, is going ahead despite the fact that you've decided to take the legal route by going to court. Do you consider this as an affront?
More than an affront, it's the highest level of insensitivity. It's the highest level of of infraction on the rule of law. You know, democracy is a very simple and at the same time complex instrument. If you have established courts, which should be the last hope of the common man, then the government should obey its own the institutions that are established by itself. You know, how do you uphold democracy, or you want peace in a country, you establish institutions and you don't obey them? I think it is unfortunate, but just like I said, the government feel like doing what you want to do, and you will also observe that this is not peculiar to the circumstance we find ourselves. There are a lot of court orders that this government seem not to obey, and if that happens to be their legacy or tradition, I'm sure it's not speaking well for our democracy. But all the same, the good thing is that no government stays forever. The government has few months to exit. The issues will remain, and at the appropriate time, when the right judgments are passed, whatever wrongs are made in the past will be corrected. That is our hope.
Well, fantastic, and that's a very strong hope you have there. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and we're looking at the situation in Ijaw land. Right now, we are speaking to Professor Benjamin Okaba. Professor Benjamin Okaba is a prolific writer, an educationist, and he is the current President General of Ijaw National Congress Worldwide. Ijaw National Congress, INC, is the apex social cultural organization of all Ijaws worldwide. Professor Benjamin Okaba is joining us this morning to take a look at situation and happenings in Ijaw land, particularly in the light of recent events that are threatening the peace of Ijaw land. And once again, we thank you so much, Professor Benjamin Okaba, who is joining us virtually. Now, Prof, again, there is the issue of disunity amongst Ijaws, and this is staring in our face, and of course it's been a big story in the news, and this has to do with the over 4 billion naira pipeline contract awarded to Tom Polo. And this is getting a lot of reaction. Just a couple of days ago, we saw Atsari Dokubo post a video on the social media warning that Tom Polo must not come near his territory, and he claimed the territory to be Canterbury land. Again, we saw another prominent Niger Deltan, Boy Loaf, reacting to that video. And a particular activist from the Shekiri area, Laurie Egba, also calling on federal government to revoke the contract. Prof, does this worry INC, Ijaw National Congress, all of these that are happening right now, and particularly coming from inside Ijaw?
Okay, thank you very much. When you started, you said the INC seemed not to be doing anything. I think I have to correct that impression. INC has been on the top of the matter from inception. In fact, when the GOC, Tom Polo, got the contract, I was among the first persons he called and intimated on phone that, look, I just have this contract, and his words, I will try as much as possible to accommodate as many experts as possible so that this contract will unify the Ijaw nation, in fact, the Niger Delta, much more than as expected. These were his words. So when we started getting those comments from different quarters, first and foremost from the northern part of this country, calling for the revocation of the contract, we just felt maybe it could be some kind of empty threat coming from people who should not be concerned about what is going on in our region. But unfortunately, it's like that was a small screen that was actually signaling the avalanche of more oppositions, more opposition. So, as a matter of fact, we got more worried. We got more worried when our own brother, i.e. Asari Dogobo and a few others, started making the comments you referred to, saying that, look, this contract should not go beyond the certain limits, and this region, this aspect, this area, it should be for this person and all that. So immediately the INC set up a 5-man committee headed by the National Financial Secretary, Chief Kenneth Ojowi, and they were given 2 weeks to interface with the major players. We thought there were just 3, but in the report they submitted last week, they had engagements with over 7 key players, and at the end of the day, based on the reports they gave, we have serious hope that if the issues are properly understood, it will not degenerate to the crisis that people do expect or anticipate. So part of what we have also done is to go on a deliberate media campaign or sensitization to educate people on the content and context of the contract. First and foremost, we've made it very clear that the contract in question is awarded to Tompolo is part of that is just one of the contracts. I know some people felt, how can you give the entire surveillance contract of the Niger Delta to one individual? The point where I want to make very clearly is that the Olu of Ishekiri has a bigger contract. Then there are 4 other parties that are actually involved in different areas in terms of surveillance. So it's not just Tompolo alone. That's one. And number 2, that as Ijaw people, we must realize that this is just a drop in the ocean. We are
okay. We are speaking to Professor Benjamin.
We've clamored. We are still pushing for resource control, total control. We are angered by the fact that oil wells in the region are the 160 oil wells in the region are managed by people who are not even from the region. So a pitch of the salt, this issue and the salt. Hello?
Yeah, we're with you. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. We're with you.
Hello? Are you hearing me?
Very well.
Hello?
Yes, very well, Professor. We can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Yes, Professor, we can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Okay, now we're speaking to Professor Benjamin Akaba, who is the President General of INC, John National Congress. Yes, Prof, you're very clear over here. You can just go ahead and speak.
Okay, thank you very much. So I thought I had progress with the... So what I will say that, for us, what we're saying is that some kind of... Okay, so like I was saying, we are on deliberate sensitization on radio programs, on television programs. We've also having physical meetings, town hall meetings, where we have implicating Ijaw people and the Niger Delta that there's no point fighting over this. Today, it's going to be a win-win for just a matter of putting ourselves together and understanding the nitty-gritty of the contracts and see how all of us can benefit. And going beyond that, I've personally visited, I think that I did about 3 days ago after the release of those videos. I have also seen Ateke. I've also, there's a better understanding of the issues. Yes, there are some gray areas that we need to strengthen. Some gray areas that need to be strengthened that I don't need to make public. But the understanding is that, look, if I want to use the words of Ateke, the King Ateke, he said, look, yes, our brother has been given a job and we must all support him. Yes, we all wanted it, but these jobs cannot be given to everybody at the same time. Today is his turn, and everybody, all the ex-militants should support Tom Polo, and that it could be somebody else's turn the next day. These were the words of Ateke Ton. He was so supportive, so encouraging and all. So when I also met Asare, he expressed his misgivings, which are normal. You know, these things are, you have both remote and immediate causes. And the institutions, things happen in the past.
Okay, fantastic, Prof.
I was told him, no, don't worry, that those things are in the past should be kept in the past.
Okay.
Let's move forward.
Thank you so much, Prof, for that.
There are allegations that some persons are being used to create crisis in the Niger Delta using the instrumentality of this contract, and that we should fail them. You know, as I talk about, we should fail them because if they think they want to divide us, we should tell them that we are stronger, united, we are more reasonable than they think. So,
all right. Well, thank you so much, Professor Okaba. I think I'm just going to allow you, Prof. If you just hold on a little bit. If you just hold on a little bit, Professor Okaba.
Dramatic personnel themselves. You know, they have their media team, they have their managers, and we also now discovered that.
Okay, very well.
While the players are ready.
Okay, can you hear me now, Professor Okaba? All right, fantastic. Now, we just wanted to stay on the line with us, and because we're going to take some calls, and we'll be looking further into all of these issues. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Point Blank, and we're looking at disturbing issues coming out from Ijaw land. And this has to do with reaction with some ex-agitators in Ijaw land over the Tom Polo contract. Now, we're speaking to Professor Benjamin Okaba, who is the President General worldwide, Ijaw National Congress.
Hello?
And he's joining us. Yes, he's joining us online now. So, Prof, again, you said to us that you've had meetings with some of these critical leaders, but we're also disturbed because recently we saw some of them brandishing weapons. And in fact, in one of them, we saw a group of young men in video with some assaulted weapons. And this is a bit difficult. So again, we will want your reaction to that. But just before then, we'll take some couple of calls and we will come back to speaking to Professor Benjamin Okaba a little bit more on the situation in Ijaw land at the moment. Now, again, the numbers to call to participate on the show, 070-5079-1021, as well as 081-174-1021. And stay with us. We'll be taking all of your calls shortly. You're tuned to Point Blank, and we're speaking to Professor Benjamin Okaba. Professor Benjamin Okaba is the President General, Ijaw National Congress, INC worldwide, and we're looking at all of the issues emanating from Ijaw land. And again, we have Professor Benjamin Okaba with us. Now, Prof, just before I allow the telephone calls to come in, quickly, you said you met Asari Dokubo and you also met His Highness King Ateketom, and they gave you their assurances. But again, we're surprised at videos we saw recently of some young men brandishing assaulted rifles. How do you explain that?
Okay, like I mentioned, those videos were released before I saw them. I saw them just 3 days ago, 3 days ago. Those videos were actually in the air before I met them. So you can see that after those meetings I referred to, there's I will call relative calm. The point I was also making is that when these were able to get the commitment from these key players, Tompolo, Asare, Dogobo, King Ateketom, and all that, their managers, the press boys, the overzealous press media people who want to show cause, over driving the issues.
Okay. Okay, but again, Professor Benjamin Okaba, do you also
we've
think...
got to realize that some of the statements that are credited to some of them... Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. We're listening.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Prof.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that, the play, like when I made reference to a particular post that was credited to Tompolo said he's not aware. He did not direct anybody to make such a post. So the crossfire from most cases do not even emanate from the key players. So we have also issued a statement advising the managers of the situation to stay off and allow
we seem to be
the INC pursue the peace or reconciliation. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Prof.
Yes, we have instructed our officers from the clan, zone, community levels to help speak to as many stakeholders as possible. That we should douse tension. Everybody should factor into the project. Yes, Kampolo has the capacity. This is our resource. Is our resource. We're asking for 100%. Today we have a paltry sum. Let's manage it properly as a justification to getting more. Because if we can fight over a drop, an infinitesimal quantum, if we can fight over it, then what is the guarantee for us to ask for 100%? That is the message we are putting across. In fact, in a better program in Yanagua yesterday, of a top politician's mother, in fact, I seized the opportunity to announce to everybody, knowing that people came from all nooks and crannies of the Niger Delta, that the pipeline surveillance contract should not divide the job people. It should unite us. And that the key players have given us the assurances that they will play cool. They will play cool. So that as handlers, as brothers and sisters to these persons, we need to also talk to our wards, to talk to our people, that let us remain calm.
Fantastic.
That the slots will be so, the slots will be so divided.
Right? We just wanted to stay with us. We wanted to stay with us because we need to take some calls now. And at this juncture, I will allow a couple of calls to come in as we speak more to Professor Benjamin Okaba, who is the President General of Ijaw National Congress, INC, the apex social cultural organization of Ijaw people. And we're looking at these disturbances that are coming in from Ijaw land. And this happens within Ijaw itself. So let's take this call. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Shegu, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Shegu, it's Cookie Gam, Shegu.
Cookie Gam, good morning.
Shegu, I have just little fear in my heart this morning, hearing this news. Shegu, do you think in the Niger Delta, for one to pursue education, well, Shegu, is it good for one to live upright in this Niger Delta now? Shegu, USC, Ajuru, graduate river students, graduate, PhD, masters, and first degree. They are all over everywhere in this state looking for jobs. But none of them, some of them have lived their life to honest, to do lot of integrity. They did not become anything. Do you think they have future in this river state or Niger Delta? So it bothers me that a contract of such amount will be people who have been clamoring for contract of to sovereign contract of billions of naira. We have rivers, young men, Bayelsa, Delta, young men that are not in a job of 10,000 to work for 1 month. The people are giving job of 4.312 billion. So it pains me that one will live in a good life in this state we are now. Is it good for our children that we are bringing up to say they want to live in life of integrity, life of honesty, or not becoming, and they will succeed in Niger Delta?
Well, Cookie Gam, thank you so much. And I think Prof would also explain all of these to us. But quickly, let me take another call here. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Yeah, this is Baba for the Masses. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Baba for the Masses, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Segun. Let me quickly reason with the professor on the line. I want to know, when we talk about oil, when we talk about issue that has to do with oil, I always hear Ijaw Nation. Ijaw Nation. I want to know, we are talking about pipeline now. Pipeline that I know, even in my community where I come from, the part of Ikure where I come from, the pipeline passed through my community, and we are still talking about Ijaw Nation. Ijaw Nation. A lot of people are involved when it's issue that has to do with it. We cannot rule Akwa Ibom out from it. We cannot rule Cross River State out from it. Even the River State, we cannot rule the Ogonis out from it. We cannot rule Ikure out from it. As I'm telling you now, who make the community is in longer ahead because of it. But when they discuss about this story, nobody mentioned other ethnic groups. They talk about only Ijaw Nation.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Baba, for the Masses.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, again, let me come back to Professor Benjamin Okaba. And Professor, again, these are the need for INC and other organizations to begin to speak, because there seems to be unclarity over this pipeline contract work. In the mind of people, they feel this is a job for just one person. Could you clarify this to us?
Just like I said earlier, in every awarding of the award of contract to one person, depending on the magnitude of the job and the specialty, etc., does not mean that the contract belongs to one person. That is the understanding. Federal government awards a road. East-West road is not given community by community, individual by individual. There's a focal person. There's somebody that takes the job, and in most cases, depending on the areas of specialty and coverage, some sections could be you have subletting, or you can also engage other people. So this contract is for the entire Niger Delta, but somebody has to handle it in the interest of everybody. You don't give contract to 50 different companies. It must be to one company. Even Abuja or major city, major route contracts are given in the name of one company. But there's always collaboration That is the point we are making. And
again, permit me to come in at this junction, Professor Okaba, because I listened to an interview also granted by a prominent Niger Delta activist, Ankyo Briggs, and Ankyo Briggs was of the opinion that even the way the federal government went about awarding the contract is a deliberate act to divide the people of Ijaw land. Do you shame this? Again, she emphasized further that, again, a lot of people are thinking that a contract belongs to Tom Polo, but there's actually another aspect of the contract that belongs to someone else who is not from the Niger Delta region.
Yes. No, you are very correct. That is the point we're making, right? You don't want to follow the issues of processes. The government has done something, right? Whether it is right or wrong, how do we address this, the matters arising from what has been done? That is the question. If the intention of government, just like Ankyo and some other persons have actually considered that it is a ploy to disunite us, we should be able to leave above the evil intention of whoever. Right? If somebody has done something to disunite us, to make us fight ourselves, and we now allow ourselves to be used to destroy ourselves, that means we are the biggest of fools. We should be able to say, okay, yes, the processes were not transparent, but at the end of the day, should be a win-win for everybody. It's our brother. If it's not given to A, it will be given to B. After us, before now, this same contract was in the hands of somebody who is not from the region, and nobody said anything. The pipeline, what do you call it? The oil fees, 116 of them. How many of those marginal fees are owned by our own people? You know, so did we fight this person? Did we carry out arms to say, oh, this oil marginal fees that are in our region where we face all the degradation and all that are owned by people outside us? There was no fight from this person. We in INC and other sister organizations that have been on the advocacy for resource control. So if these are scam by way of a peanut to us, which we consider very infinitesimal, let us not kill ourselves over it. That is the point we are making. We are not saying the process was right. We are not saying it was transparent. But the point we are saying is that let us not allow their ploy to be actualized. If we say no to it, they will be so disappointed. In fact, my brother, we need to be together now. We know where this country is going to. We don't know whether elections are holding or elections are holding. You can see the security threats from every day, all perspective, all angles. We are not safe. And the only guarantee to our safety is our unity. We should not demystify ourselves. That is fact. We should not wash our dirty linens in the public. It is not necessary.
Fantastic.
Yes,
you're listening to...
We should not wash our dirty linens in the public. Let us agree together, disagree and agree within ourselves. If we do that, definitely, we have seen situations where negativities turn to positivities. That is just what I'm saying. Let's just come together and say, okay, you are aggrieved. This should be what it should have been like this. Now that it was not like that, it's not like that. What now do we do? We should shame the devil. We should shame our enemies that this contract is not going to divide us. We should tell our Nigerians. We should tell Nigerians that if we are given total resource control, we can manage it. Because if right now we are fighting over 4 billion, when our people within outside this region are getting 100 billion, a month, taking all our resources to fight over peanuts, is stupidity taken too far. That is the way we see it. We should not tell the world that we are stupid people. We are calling for the total management of our resources. So if a little bit is given to us, and we can always manage the little resources. Because, okay, over the years I've been saying that, Niger Delta governors, Niger Delta people are calling for resource control. What are you using your 13% for? Derivation, what are you using for? Is there anything to show that you have been given 13%? That is something we have a moral responsibility to defend and play with. Now another dimension is introduced into it. 4 billion. out of several billions that are stolen. If you talk about oil theft, it's not the Niger Deltas that steal oil. We know the people that steal oil. They are outside the Niger Delta. So how do you want to divide and kill ourselves over very party? It is something that is so shameful to talk about. And that is why we are doing everything possible, utilizing all the opportunities to make sure that we have constructive engagement with all the persons concerned. So at the end of the day, we should have understanding. And then, like I said earlier, it is very positive. In fact, I've discussed with some other persons that at the distant time, these 3 or 4 key players can come to a round table. The INC is working on that. And in no distant day, it will happen. The 4-person key players will come to a round table and we look at the nitty-gritty. And that is the end of it. That is the truth.
Well, fantastic. And we love that, Professor Benjamin Akaba. We're speaking to Professor Benjamin Akaba, who is the President General of John National Congress, INC Worldwide. We're looking at now, Prof. I just want you to hold on a little bit, Prof, so that we can move to other issues. We have very limited time. I know that this is a very big issue. Again, we'll be opening the telephone lines shortly, but I just want us to come quickly to Rivers State. A couple of days ago, a prominent Niger Deltan and an Ijaw leader, also a statement, Chief Anap Saraigbe, issued a statement following the burial of another late prominent Niger Delta, Alabo Graham Douglas. And in that statement, Chief Saraigbe insinuated that the Rivers State government has hatred for Kalabari people. And this is very serious because we're going into election and you, INC, has been in support for a Kalabari governor. Again, do you share the same views with Chief Anap Saraigbe that this present government in Rivers State has hatred for Ijaw people?
Well, I think that insinuation is quite heavy. It's very, very heavy. It's multidimensional in terms of implications. For you to say somebody hates a group of persons. So very quickly, I will say that I don't have sufficient evidence to agree or disagree. But if I must say anything, I think Asarigbe must have seen things, must have also gathered some information or made some observation, and which I'm not privy to. But objectively speaking, I feel the governor maybe is just reacting to situations that present himself to him, and to say because he did not attend or the Alabo Grandugla was not given a state burial is sufficient reason to imply hatred for the entire Ijaw nation. I think for me is not what we want to support. This time around, Wike is an individual, and though a governor, he has his own preferences, he has his own choices, he has his own attitude. After all, when he raised the curse on the Ijaw nation in the church, we decided to sympathize with him, because the church is not place for somebody to say thunder, invoke the spirit of thunder in a church. You know that something is actually wrong. So we just sympathize with him. We don't consider it as a speech. So, but we've made a point that irrespective of the situation we find ourselves, we must defend the Ijaw man, defend the Ijaw cause.
And again,
I also know.
Yes, go ahead, Prof. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Yes, like I was saying, we also know that he has I know the PDP governorship candidate from Rivers State. He's an Ijaw man, thoroughbred Ijaw man. So if he is the entire Ijaw nation, he will not go for him. So I also know that Ijaw people that are very, very close to Wike, and there are also other ethnic nationality, people from other ethnic nationality. That Wike is also fighting. It's also distant. So I think it's not about the people. It's about a group of persons. I think it's about people that they think that they have differences with it, and he has to react the way he's reacting. So I wouldn't want to make Ijaw people feel that Wike is Ijaw people. No.
Okay.
I don't want to say so.
Well,
yes.
well, fantastic on that. And now that you mentioned the issue of governorship candidate and you referred to the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party being an Ijaw man, again, there are insinuations in certain quarters that INC may have endorsed a particular candidate to be the candidate of Ijaws in the coming election in Rivers State. How correct is that?
That is not correct because I know also, I saw in the media where they displayed the picture of myself and a few members of my ESCO in a caustic call we paid on Pastor Tony Cole, the APC governorship candidate, during the burials. Some even went ahead to say that I handed over the John muffler to him as a symbol of endorsement. I want to say very categorically that there was no endorsement, there was no statement to that effect. As a matter of fact, we're in Abonima, that is Tony Close base, and at some point, as anybody would do, it's our Ijaw tradition that when you have visitors of that magnitude, you say, "Oh, please, you are done with when you are done with your major assignment, please come over. If it's even a bottle of water, I give to you. Take." So it was.
Well, we see. Okay, now we're trying to.
That gesture. Yes. It was that gesture we responded to, and there was no, because if I'd said no, if Tony Cole had sent people to me and I said no, we're not going, it will also be misconstrued that INC president shunned Tony Cole's request that at least come and pay me a visit. So, things can be either interpreted this way or the other, but we are just calm with it. We have made it very clear using our media aid that, look, nobody is endorsed. If we visit Father Dagogo's place and it's in town, we'll go visit him.
Okay.
If we go to that, we have anything doing in the state, we'll go visit him.
But again, Prof, let me ask you this, Prof. Are we likely to see INC in the coming days endorsing a particular candidate to say, well, this is our choice in the coming election, particularly as it has to do with Rivers State?
Yes. No, I didn't get your question.
I was asking that in the coming days, are we likely to see INC endorsing a particular candidate in the governorship election in Rivers State to say, this is our candidate whom we are giving our support to?
Well, since 90% of the candidates are all Ijaw people, in fact, we expected that all the parties should just have Ijaw people. And if that happens, we'll have just gone to sleep to say, head or tail is Ijaw. But now that there is somebody on the other side, the SDP flag is being flown by another brother from another ethnic nationality. I think we will need to put ourselves together. We might not come up to say that this is the candidate to follow, but you just must also be very careful that we don't divide ourselves to the extent of creating an opportunity for another person to take over. Yes, we are so desirous that we have it. We are so desirous that we have it. So for us, it is about 85% victory. But the remaining 15% also is very, very serious. So we might not come up to say this is what we do, but might create certain parameters so that at the end of the day, the job people will not over-divide their votes. The job people will not waste their votes. The job people will not dissipate their energy. So we are washing through, and a committee is already working on looking at the likelihoods of the potential, the capacity, the spread, and the choices of the people. And they are working towards all of it. But towards the end of the day, I'm sure it will be obvious as to who amongst the 4 or 5 gladiators is most likely to have it. And it will be, at that point, nobody needs to tell any other person. Because the message is that, look, if we go to, as you are campaigning, if we are looking at the various indications, if it is obvious that somebody who is hostile at the job man is just there, or a job woman is there, and it might not give us, because it's win we want. It's a win we want.
All right.
Yeah, it's a win we want. So when we have, yes. So if we see that, we can say, look, my Oga, I beg, you are a very fantastic person. But look at the pool. Look at the results we are getting. Can you please support our brother? Can you please support our sister? Can you please support this? So that at the end of the day, you cannot all be governor at the same time. One person has to be.
All right, Professor Benjamin, I'm just going to ask you to stay with us. We have about 5 minutes more on this particular segment. So we just have 5 minutes more. Professor, we just have about 5 minutes more on this segment, and I would like to take some calls because we have comments coming in on the social media. And if you want to send in your comments, you can send it to us on Facebook, on the social media. And for those who would like to call in, we want you to call this line 070-5079 1021, as well as 0811-7431-021. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Point Blank. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm calling from Bakana.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Please, I just want to contribute. Niger Delta will have a lot of graduates.
Okay.
Which if federal government want to give jobs, why they may employ our graduate to NNPC, to different departments in Nigeria here. Now they have given Tempolo a contract of 4 billion naira to separate Niger Delta. Now, let me remind this our leader that is in studio with you, that we Niger Delta youth, we Niger Delta fathers, we don't have confidence on our leaders again. If we can go back to the days of militants, a lot of youth follow Tempolo, a lot of youth follow Atek, a lot of youth follow Alajasare. What is the result? Most of them today, they are junking in waterside. Most of them today, nothing to write on. Most of them, they are pastors, keep their children, their students, they are suffering.
Okay.
And those leaders give their children scholarship? No, the answer is no. So we, Niger Delta youth, we are ashamed of this, our leaders. We are tired of them.
Well, thank you so much. All right, thank you. I think you've sent your comment. Now, let's take this one. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Hello, Shegu. Good morning. Shegu, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. This is Fred Michael calling from Nkoro.
Fred, good morning.
I want to, what I'm hearing this morning, I'm not happy. I want to advise our Niger Delta youth, both Asari, Tompolo, we are brothers, it's your brothers. I want to advise them, please. And federal government has made a mistake. They could have appointed Tompolo, Asari Dokbo, Ateketom, and invite them and give them the contract. So they should not give only Tompolo the contract, so that there will be no crisis in Niger Delta. They should join hands together, please. I'm begging of them. They should join hands together and let peace reign in Niger Delta.
All right, thank you so much. We can appreciate that. And let's just take one more. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Pastor Shegu, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, my name is Osiasa Christian Livingstone, and I'm calling from Soku community. Pastor Shegu, let me doff my hat for the INC president. The way he has navigated all your questions, the sincerity with which he has spoken, the pragmatic steps he has taken together with the SESCO as a team to ensure that this poison chalice does not in any way work towards the disintegration of the Niger Delta. I call it the poison chalice because strength is unity. And they may have calibrated that this will be enough to divide the Niger Delta. But with efforts, me and his executive and other well-meaning persons like have been, I'm convinced that Niger Delta will come out more united in this struggle. That is number one. Number two, let me also thank him and say that it is too hasty now to say INC or the John Nation want to. What we should encourage is positive communication, brotherhood in our campaigns, in the campaigns of the individual candidates. at the end of the day, we have been in a position to know what to do. And that position will be better informed. I haven't seen every other thing.
Well, Chess, I'm very sorry, but time will not permit us to take more on that because we need to wrap up this segment to bring in our other guests. Brokenik, let me just quickly allow the INC President General just a couple of moments to react to all of this. Now, Prof, you just have 2 minutes to react to all of that.
Incidentally, I did not even get the questions. So I don't know if I just, yes.
Okay, but maybe a lot of them have commended you anyway, but a lot of them felt that, well, some of these contracts should trickle down to the young people in the Niger Delta region who don't have jobs. Yes. So maybe if you would just quickly sum up the position of INC on all of these.
Yes. Ab initio, I said that the contract definitely has to trickle down. It's little but huge. It's not something one individual can handle, right? So there are plans already to have a central managing system that will ensure that every segment of the Niger Delta covered by the contract is as direct benefit.
Yeah.
Because yes, that is on ground. That is where we are trying to centralize the process.
Now, Professor Benjamin Okaba, I would love to talk to you more, but time would just not permit us to do that because we need to go on another segment of the show. But again, we're quite appreciative of the fact that you could join us on this show this morning, and we thank you for all your valuable contribution and suggestions. Thank you once again, Professor Benjamin Okaba, the President General, INC, John National Congress Worldwide. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to have you.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
You're tuned to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. Coming up on the next segment, campaigning for presidential election will begin September 28th. That is in a couple of days. And we are looking at the situation with the Bola Ahmed campaign. How right or what are the indices on ground that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will get the statutory 25% votes in River State? Plus, other issues beleaguering the All Progressives Congress, APC, River State. Stay with us. We'll be having joining us a fantastic writer, a former Chief of Staff, Government House, Port Harcourt, in the days of His Excellency Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, who is now to lead the campaign of Bola Asiwaju Ahmed in River State. We'll be having Chief Tony Okocha join us. Stay with us after this break.
We know what you want and how you want it.
You're Super FM. Yeah!
Are you a school owner, a school proprietor, or management of a primary or secondary school in River State? This is for you. You can now enjoy 30% discount. Yes, 30% discount if you advertise with Super FM in the Back to School promo. Back to School promo